just going to start with the news this week. Dave Ewers is on the move. It's another big name leaving, but just sum up Dave and what he's given to this club and just the process of how things are going here at the moment.
Oh, listen, Dave, I can't speak highly enough of Dave. How many big games has the guy been involved in, been part of the team that came together and grew over a number of years, and that's what happened. That team that was initially in the Premiership grew, and then another group started to filter in, and then that group of young players who became the core kind of became a bit of a driving force, and we slowly added to that. And Dave's been right in the middle of that all the way through. And as I said, how many big finals has Dave played in? He played in a lot. Probably, I think we've been indicated we missed him in the final we lost a couple of years ago when we had those two kind of issues in the couple of games running up to the final, which is kind of I still hint about kind of we let ourselves down there. We ended up with a couple of key guys not available in the final. And so he's been involved in the best. Well, he has been. He's been involved right in the middle of the best moments this club's had, and I can't speak highly enough of him. And as I said, before, with the guys choosing, they don't go on with any bad terms. They don't go with any issues. Dave came and kind of confirmed it to me when we were over in South Africa, and we had a long chat about it. It was pretty emotional, as you can imagine, because we've been through a lot together, but at the same time, I can't say he's not doing the right thing. He's 32 now. He's been here his whole career, right through our academy. As he said, he's played some big games, becoming an England international, and there's an opportunity for him playing a different competition, experience some different things towards the tail end of his career, and I can't say that's not the right thing to do. I know some people will say it feels like a lot of the squad are moving, or a lot of the squad are leaving, and potentially they are. But I think people probably fail to remember that most of these guys are kind of ending up in the same scenario at the same time, where they're getting to a similar age together. They're seeing the similar challenge that we've got with the salary cap. We knew this 3 years ago. I knew this 3 years ago. I actually said it to the board when we took the decision to renew their contracts relatively long term, using the 6.4 cap. It was always going to be an issue for us as players dropped off contract or came close to end of contracts, and we were going to be dealing with a different level of cap to teams in Europe. And that's kind of exactly what's happened, because however we want to look at it, there's the reduction you have to offer is significant, and at the same time we also have to have a squad to play in weeks when these guys aren't available, because they're not available every week through either injury or international call-ups or whatever, and we've got to get things right. And so I think you'd be surprised that most of the players just understand that, and so we haven't actually had battles over salary, because they've understood that what's been offered is on a different level to what's going to come. So it hasn't been any huge kind of, how would I say, it's not been like a huge surprise to me that so many of this group of players are where they are. Because I could have told you, if you'd have asked me 3 years ago what will happen in 3 years, I would have probably predicted 90% of what's happening. And I think that in itself is okay, because we kind of have been expecting, we've kind of had a little bit of stuff going on in the background to start to get us ready. You'll start to see some of that over the next year or two. But at the same time, every one of these players who's leaving, and the first thing he said to me is, Rob, I just want you to understand I'm fully committed to the club until I leave. If there's anything I can do to help the club win a trophy or be successful, I want to go out on a high. They're all saying exactly the same things, and that in itself is quite exciting, because they're working very hard alongside a group of younger players who are improving all the time, and they're doing the right thing. They're senior players, and they're bringing those guys on in good quality games, and they're giving them the chance to play in big games like at home to Cass, where 5 points gets you a home 16. They're huge games to be involved in, and we're going the right way, and they're behaving in the right way to try and lead us into those big games. Luke Cowan-Dickey was walking around in a boot yesterday having his ankle operation, telling me that he's going to be fit in a week, and he wants to play. So they're doing the right things, and that's why that's the kind of characters they are. First thing Dave said to me, Rob, I really want to win something. I want to do well for the club this year. It's meant a lot to me being my whole time here. It's a challenge for me to leave, but it's a challenge I think I should take. And you know, that these guys, they're at the right time of their career to make these big decisions.
Equally, in the past, you've had to make tough decisions yourself when you've had players that you want to keep and said, I've got to let you go. And at the same time as well, now you've got a group of young players, your Hodge, Chunza, Capstick, Fissalau, Jenkins, all coming through. The future is bright in a lot of ways, isn't it?
It is, and like you say, you know, the hardest part of my job isn't seeing a player leave who's got a contract somewhere else. The hard part of your job is letting the player go who doesn't know if they're going to get a contract somewhere else. And so all of these, in a weird kind of way, they're relatively positive, because I've said this plenty of times before. You want to be a club that's full of players that everybody else wants. You're doing a lot right. You're doing a lot right if that happens, and that's what's happened over the last 5-6 years with this group of players. They've won trophies, they've played well, they've become internationals. They're the ideal picks for some other clubs, and that's come home now as contracts have got to elapsed or they've got to options to leave. We are a club that's ready to kind of be picked apart a little bit, and we've just got to get on with it and deal with it. But we're also a club that always along the way, we've always given young players an opportunity. That's how a lot of these guys got into the first team to start with. They got an opportunity probably a bit earlier than they would have got at other clubs, and so we're not going to change that. And that's probably why we've pushed a few younger guys and given them opportunities pretty quickly, because that's how you develop, that's how you move forward, and that's how you rebuild teams. And so, you know, we're not going through any process that we didn't do before. It just feels slightly differently because we've been in 6 or 7 finals, you know, so it's going to feel different. But actually, this isn't any different process that we've always been going through.